5G and edge deployments represent the long-awaited opportunity for service revenue growth. But how do service providers ensure that their network transformation initiatives continue to evolve through NFV and towards full cloud-native architectures to provide the necessary agility to scale out coverage? Joining me now from Shannon in Ireland is Brian Ahern, Director of Communications Infrastructure and General Manager at Intel. Brian, good to see you again on TelecomTV.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
Brian, first of all, what is driving this transformation that we're seeing, and why do telcos need to adopt a cloud-centric approach?
Well, for the last number of years, I've been on with you and talked about NFV and the whole network transformation. So you think about that, and then you also think about what's evolving now with 5G and all of the use cases that are promised in that area. So you look at the merger of that, evolution of the network, plus the advances associated with the technologies and use cases that come with 5G. And then you pull those things together and you look ahead and you think, how are we going to continue to evolve the network to elevate and enable these new services, and then do so faster and more secure and more reliable than we've ever done before. So that's the backdrop that we face.
So how does a CSP improve or keep adapting their network to become 5G infrastructure ready to take advantage of the potential revenue from 5G?
Well, there's a couple of things there. So, when we look about the new services that we want to deploy, we want to do them at a faster pace than we've ever done before. We want to do them, we want to be able to scale up and down, something that we haven't really been able to do before. And, we continue to want to be able to do that in a very reliable and secure manner. So there are the three things that we want to do. And we're looking at the cloud and we're saying, how can I take advantage of their scalability and their technologies and bring them and make the network more cloud-like? Okay, so we're looking ahead with our customers and partners in this area and our comm service providers, and we're saying, how can we bring in those cloud technologies onto the network? And what can we adopt in and leverage and utilize? But then what things do we need to change in those technologies for the particular use cases and vagrancies and variances of a network, of a 5G network? And these are the things that we're working here in Intel on with our product portfolio. We want to be able to bring all those advantages of cloud to bear on the network, and then adjust and enhance those technologies for the network of the future.
So virtualization has enabled operators to disaggregate the network components, but we still need to look at hardware and software. So let's start with hardware first. What needs to be addressed with hardware, and how are you helping?
Well, so in the last number of years, the key transformation on the hardware front is that our customers want to develop a flexible infrastructure. Okay, so what are the foundations of that? Tend to be general purpose computing, and Intel with our product portfolio, that fits right into our wheelhouse. So you look at that fundamental infrastructure, the move from purpose-built communications infrastructure to general purpose, off-the-shelf standard server solutions. So when you make that move and leverage that ability, that scale, that flexibility of and that whole ecosystem of that multi-vendor infrastructure, that's a great start in that world. So that's the first thing. And so within that, of course, we bring to bear our critical product portfolio, whether it's our Xeon SP product portfolio, all the way down through to our Atom portfolio. So of course the network isn't just one thing. You have all of these different locations, demanding different types of products, different use cases, different locations. And we believe we have a tremendous product portfolio that allows you to scale from top to bottom, and then enhance that product portfolio with our adjacent technologies, be that FPGA, of course, our Ethernet NIC portfolio, and also our Optane DC persistent memory. So that hardware portfolio is fundamental, the ability to create this flexible infrastructure upon which you can now go and develop and enhance whatever product portfolio or services you'd like to provide.
Which leads us nicely onto software. The rate of acceleration of innovation in software is incredible at the moment, and there's cause for even more focus on software. So what needs to be addressed in terms of software?
Well, so I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is complexity. So in the last number of years with NFV, as we've moved from purpose-built infrastructure and a single vendor solution stack from hardware all the way up, we have, and the industry has, disaggregated that stack. So you get a best-of-breed hardware supplier, and then you start adding on your best-of-breed software stacks all the way up. So that is a tremendous thing to be able to do, but it comes at a cost, and the cost is that complexity. So one of the first challenges that we have to get to grips with now, as we move on from the kind of the initial stages of NFV heading towards that cloud native type infrastructure, is resolving that complexity. And that complexity, the resolution of that starts with industry standard interfaces. It starts with working with our partners in the open source community to align on that and provide that upstream capability. And that's something that we've done a lot within the last number of years, and we will continue to do. But the important piece, and the piece that I'd like to put even more emphasis on now, is the actual commercialization of that. So it's not just about the industry standards and the upstreaming. It's about working with our partners to get that downstream commercial readiness at a pace and a level that we haven't seen before. But I think we're really on the good track for that.
So this is key, isn't it? The commercialization of this software, which requires trusted partners and perhaps the ecosystem to be revisited, expanded somewhat. Is there anything we can do to help the ecosystem support the CSPs in this? Any tools, any partnerships we can encourage?
Well, so from our perspective, over the last number of years, our flagship enabling tool in the ecosystem is our Intel Network Builders program, with hundreds of partners working together and developing these innovative solutions for the marketplace. And some great ideas that have come to bear there. We have our Intel Select Solution portfolio for NFV. We have recently provided a forwarding plane variant of that to meet the demands of our high-speed packet processing workloads, particularly in the edge around a distributed EPC, for example. And we also, of course, have our universal CPE solution. So these are some examples of our partnership in the industry to enable and standardize and create and make these things more readily available. And it continues all the way up the stack. So we've worked with a range of partners and their software portfolio. Not just folks like myself on the business side, but a lot of engineer-to-engineer activity at these events worldwide, and also increasingly these peer-to-peer events where we've got these engineers working together to enable technologies and build these really, really great products and partnerships.
Brian, as telcos start to look more at cloud-native architectures and technologies, it's become apparent it's very complex. Containers are complex. The orchestration of containers is incredibly complex. It's complex for enterprises today even. Do we need to reduce this complexity or try and reduce this complexity, or is it a case of managing it and supporting it because it's never going to get easier?
Well, indeed, and that's that's a two-sided story, really. So there are certain things that we can do a better job of in terms of reducing complexity, and some of that revolves around some of the low-level APIs that we're working on, reducing that complexity, reducing the churn of those APIs. So there are certain things that we need to do. We must do them, and we must tackle them quickly. Then there are other things where we need to take advantage of these evolving technologies in automation. So it's not just about us, getting our story straight around our APIs, but also working with our partners in the entire solution stack to leverage the benefits of an automated infrastructure. And sure, that's orchestration is a complex topic in its own right, but we now have the tools supported by some of these industry standards to really start to get to grips with that. So I see the resolving complexity from two sides. One is doing the hard work on the ground of getting our APIs in the right frame of mind, and then on the other side, enabling the automated infrastructure and allowing us to leverage these tools and capabilities that are coming our way from mining all kinds of data that it's coming from the network, from consumers, from whether it's power telemetry, memory telemetry on our platform, through to resiliency of the software, all the way up the stack. All of that data, once you harness it, you can start tackling this problem from an automation perspective too.
And how does this ultimately all help CSPs with their 5G and edge strategies?
Well, it's all about pace. When you look at the cloud and you're thinking pace, how can I deploy services as fast and as efficient and as reliable as cloud? And I think that's the key thing, is as we move into this new dynamic around 5G, all of the potential of edge services, all of that capacity in the network that you want to unlock. So how do you want to do that? I think the infrastructure is being built. What's missing is really getting that infrastructure to respond quickly. Pace, getting that the ability to build and ramp and roll out and scale those services as fast as you can see some of our cloud customers do.
Brian, always good to talk to you, and thanks again for joining us on TelecomTV.
Thank you very much. Delighted. Bye-bye.